We're going.
A little break until they get their.
We're going.
What? A little break until they get their.
We're going.
What? A little break until they get their.
We're going.
What? A little break until they get their.
We're going.
What? A little break until they get their.
We're going.
What? A little break until they get their.
We're going.
What? A little break until they get their.
We're going.
What? A little break until they get their.
We're going.
What? A little break until they get their.
We're going.
What? A little break until they get their.
We're going.
What? A little break until they get their.
We're going.
What?
This is my second. I'm still terrified. See? Yeah, now this is one. Whoops.
Yes, ma'am. We're good.
Okay, wait a minute, Benny. Okay. Give us a few more minutes and then we'll start.
Well, we can give some to you.
I said by.
Or dollars. Not in here.
You make good glass. We're waiting on you, Benny.
Oh. Sorry.
That's okay. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the City of North Pole, to our City Council meeting. Madam Clerk, can you go ahead and call the roll?
For the regular meeting of December 11th, Mr. Church,
Here.
Ms. Clack,
Yes.
Mr. Keller,
Here.
Mr. Skips, Mr. Williams,
Here.
Mr. Jacobson, and Mayor Welch will be absent this evening.
Can we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
They switched it.
They switched it.
That's on us.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It's going to lead us in prayer.
Lord, we thank you for today. Thank you for keeping everybody safe as they traveled here.
Lord, we just pray for this meeting today that we'll do everything that's for the best of our constituents here for the city of North Pole. And we just pray for all the travel that we're going to be doing this holiday season. I say these words in your name, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Approval of the minutes?
Let's get back to approval of the agenda.
Oh, excuse me. What is Jen- what's next?
Move to approve.
Second.
On the motion to approve the agenda, Mr. Jacobson?
We're not done yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Move to amend the agenda under item 11, new business A, moving that to consent.
Second.
And that was
Keller.
Jeff, second, Anton?
Yes.
Thank you.
And on that motion, Mr. Skips? Ms. Clack?
Yes.
Mr. Church?
Yes.
Mr. Keller? Mr. Jacobson? And Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Is there any other amendments? On the approval of the agenda, Mr. Jacobson?
Yes, I'm just trying to get my mic sounding.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Church?
Yes.
Mr. Skips? Ms. Clack?
Yes.
Mr. Keller?
Yes.
Thank you.
Approval of the minutes from 11/20/23.
Move to approve.
Second.
On the motion to approve the minutes, Mr. Keller?
Right.
Mr. Skips?
Yes.
Mr. Church?
Yes.
Mr. Jacobson?
Yes,
Ms. Clack?
Yes.
And Mr. Williams?
Yes.
That brings us to communications of the mayor.
And to my knowledge, he didn't leave me any notes, so there's no communication from the mayor.
Welcome back from AML.
Chamber council members, questions of the mayor?
I do have a question for staff. If I've heard that the mayor may be out of the office for some time, but I haven't had that really confirmed if that's the case or not, that whether or not he'll be at our next meeting or staff meeting or.
I know called me today to discuss the items on the agenda and let me know he would not be here tonight. I don't have any. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Now it's communication from our department heads. So let's start with Trish first.
Don't
Well, we
don't
missed
have
number 8.
Citizens' comments.
Oh, that's right, I did. Citizen comments. I'm sorry, Trish.
I do have one citizen signed up for comment, and that's Howard Rixey.
Howard Rixey, come on up.
Evening.
Good evening.
Do I need to state my name?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, it's Howard Rixey. And anyways, I'm here. I just want to kind of give you some quick things from the chamber. One, we'd like to invite y'all to next Tuesday, so December 19th, our luncheon over at the hotel. We've got 3 things going on. One, we're going to present the winners for the Christmas and Lights decoration contest there. We're also going to do our annual awards, which is great there. And then our main topic there is going to be the Polar Ice Revival. So they'll be there to present that. We also have our coffee going on tomorrow at the hotel from 9:30 to 10:30. The couple things here. So in October, we submitted a letter to y'all as well as the mayor requesting you consideration that the city waive the permit fees associated with the Welcome Center. Even though we don't have them submitted or whatever, some of our contractors have asked that question as to whether they would be waived. So we're asking for y'all to consider that at some time and point. The other thing we'd like to do is actually have the city council consider possibly creating some form of a one-time tax incentive for businesses to change their outward facade of their businesses to be more Christmas spirit friendly and promoting that there. So those are our big ones there. The other thing I wanted to say was this past weekend, we had a great weekend. The bazaar was very well attended. We had the Christmas celebration yesterday, and if y'all don't know, our new North Pole King and Queen is John and Gail Tobin. And then we had some fantastic fireworks, which we want to publicly thank Guerrilla Fireworks and North Pole Lions for putting that on. So, and the only last thing I would say here is when you guys are doing your city priorities for the legislation, I definitely encourage you to include the Welcome Center on it. Even if you're not asking for money there, at least you would ask for support of it there. We're going other different avenues to get that same legislative consideration there. But for us to do it and not be on the North Pole one there, it kind of speaks out of both sides of our mouth there. So we highly encourage you to, but it's on the list.
Okay.
That's all I have, unless you got questions.
Yes, Mr. Jacobson.
Thank you for all that you did for the 2023 Winterfest. I was able to go to the bazaar at the mall, and it was quite busy, and had an opportunity to try out our new Saigon Gardens restaurant. And that, if you haven't tried it, their pho soup is really delicious. So I encourage you to try that. The fireworks I thought were fantastic. The little golden snakes that made noise up there. I thought that was the grand finale, and then they came back with even more. I loved watching those fireworks. I think my only concern was that this year we made some changes with the dates and also with the times, because I was out there at 5 o'clock waiting to watch the fireworks, and I saw lots of cars heading towards the mall parking lot at just before 5. And we all waited an hour, and I had to go online to see when that actually was. So I think when there's a change in past practice, that it really needs to be broadcasted everywhere, flyers on cars, because people are habits. I mean, we had people who during COVID would come here for the 4th of July parade regardless, and I had to drive up and down the street saying, there's no parade this year. I'm so sorry, but they were there with their young families waiting. So people get programmed, and I would just really encourage that, because I would not like anybody to give up participating because they had to wait or they didn't know. And even though things are on the website, people don't always see it. And I did look on the website for the Christmas celebration, and your website was the ball of death, and you could not get to the second page to see what was happening on Sunday.
Really?
Yeah.
That's great feedback there.
So what I would do is that
I would say, as far as the participation on the fireworks there, I don't know what the police would say. But the highway was jammed. So it was very well. And this is the second year we put it on at 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock. And the reason is because the bazaar is over at 5. So that gives all those vendors inside to tear down their booths and everything else and be able to enjoy the fireworks as well. So, but we did get past we're sensitive to the past history. So like next year, it will be back on the first Saturday of December and whatnot there. So, and we'll try to do a better job. I don't know, as much marketing as you can do. You can put it in the paper, the news, the Facebook, the radio, all of that, and you're still going to have people that say, "Oh, I didn't know."
Oh, yeah,
But,
and I understand that.
And we'll try to do even better. I appreciate that feedback.
And I would just also encourage you that you have a beautiful webpage, but maybe on the front page, just have a short little calendar that shows, like the Winterfest, what's happening on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, without having to go to different pages to look at it, so that they can see at a glance all the events, and then go to the pages to get the, more detailed information. But at least it's got those things kind of bullet points out there.
Great feedback. And I just want to say thank you very much for reading the night before Christmas. That's a Christmas celebration. You did a fantastic job. So
Thank you.
Larry.
Thank you for the fireworks show. That was the best fireworks show I've probably seen in 15 or 20 years. I took the kids. We had a big group of gals that came with us, and it was exceptional. And then also thank you for posting Sunday's candle lighting ceremony
on the Facebook
on
Live.
Facebook. That was wonderful to be able to watch John and Gail get up there and accept that, and thank you for that. They're great folks, and I'm excited to see what they're going to be able to do for the city of North Pole to help you out and to make that happen. So thank you for that.
You had a great MC. Keep him.
Oh,
He was
Jeff, yeah,
wonderful.
he's one of our board members. Yeah, he did a fantastic job. He's already signed the contract for next year. I'm hoping, Jeff, you will do the same.
Benny?
Just a little note that, I was driving around the circle, right? And the marquee that's there, we have some trees that need to come down. Cause you barely see it and then you're going past it.
Okay, we can pass that on to Gavora,
Okay,
because we don't control that. but,
oh, okay.
They just donate the site and the electricity, so. Okay, great feedback.
Thank you very much for coming.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else for citizen comments?
I don't have anybody else signed up or waiting in line, no.
Okay, so communication from department heads.
I'm pardon, I'm
oh.
sorry, there's somebody in the audience.
Yeah,
Jomo.
Jelma.
So hi, I'm Jomo Stewart. I live in Taku Westgate in Fairbanks. And I actually wasn't planning to testify, but again, I'm Jomo Stewart. I'm the president of Fairbanks Economic Development Corporation. I did get to review your packet for today's agenda, and I just wanted to say thank you for the consideration. However the vote goes, however the dollars line up, it's fine. I just want to say thank you very much for the consideration. Regarding your own winter festival, I'm glad it went so well. We're at FEDC, so we've been organizing the Fairbanks Winter Solstice Fest, which is happening next weekend. But we went ahead for our Friday Small Business Spotlight. We went ahead and highlighted you all's the North Pole Winter Festival to see if we can drive more business out here. Really, too, to remind folks, Salcha, Eielson Air Force Base, it's kind of a long drive to get all the way to Fairbanks, and to let them know that they could get off of those bases and go ahead and come right here to North Pole and see such wonderful fireworks, the bazaar, and have a good time. So again, regarding the budget decision tonight, thank you very much again for your consideration. Really appreciate it. And we'll just keep working with Mr. Rixey and the rest to see what more business we can drive your way. So thanks.
Before you disappear, so you said that the Fairbanks one will be on the 16th?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so the 16th of December is when the Fairbanks one will be taking place.
Correct. So I couldn't come out Sunday because we have a winter lights walk. It's trees by the river. And so I went ahead and put on the moose costume for them to light the trees. So there's going to be some stuff going on during the week. But yeah, the big culmination is next week. Morris Thompson Cultural and Visitor Center will be doing a bazaar both Friday, the 15th and the 16th. The Moose on the Loose Small Business Scavenger Hunt for businesses all across Fairbanks will also be on Saturday. So that's Parks and Rec, ourselves, the Morris Thompson Cultural and Visitor Center, and then of course the Downtown Center will be doing their large fireworks display that evening
8 p.m.
at 8 p.m.
At what time again for the
8.
fireworks? 8?
8 p.m.
And that's at the Doyon Plaza Shoreway parking lot is where they set it off. So First Avenue.
First
Cushman
Avenue
Bridge.
facing Doyon.
Okay.
Where would we find a schedule of events for those people who are listening and watching
Oh, certainly.
to help with that?
So yes, you can Google Winter Solstice Festival Fairbanks, and that should get you to the website. And just as a reminder, and actually I know now that I should have called Howard as my very first call rather than trying to do my reach outs myself. We did try to organize a similar Moose on the Loose event for North Pole for this year. But really kind of built around do a week-long restaurant tour of North Pole where folks would be
Ooh, yeah.
encouraged to go visit your fine eateries. I should have called Howard first, but we'll make sure we call him first next time. And again, now that I know that you all is going to be your big winter festival, holiday festival will be the first Saturday of December. We'll keep that in mind. I'll take it back to the group so we can see again if we can tie all these things together to make it just a nice broad community celebration. So thanks.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions? Okay, thank you, Jamal, for coming out.
I don't have anybody else now signed up or waiting.
Okay. Communication from departments. I was going to start with Trish.
Good evening, everyone. Last week, we were, myself and my deputy accountant was at GFOA, which is coincides at the same time as AML. We had a 2.5 day conference. It was very informative. There's some new accounting rules out there that we were going to discuss with our consultants for 2023's audit. And it was, we had a nice time networking with other accountants in the areas, other cities. How do they function? And it was just eye opener, really. We got back during the time we were gone. We received our bank statement from Mount McKinley. So we have not started that yet. 2 back-to-back meetings are a little much, but we're going to work on that. And as soon as we get that tightened up for November, we will send that out to you in an email. Well, actually, most of our emails now will go through our city clerk. So she has a record of everything that you have a record of. So then that's really the way we should be doing it from here on out.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Any questions? Jeff?
I would just encourage that the department heads send those messages to the clerk, not the day of the meeting, but the week before, like
Before.
Thursday, Friday, because I see I got one at 12:54 today, and I didn't check my City of North Pole email, busy doing other things. So that information gets lost when it's the day of. I don't have a chance to see it, read it, act upon it.
Sure.
So just encourage all the department heads to send that out when the packets go out.
Okay, so on the request that you had tonight on the consented ordinance budget amendment, I could put that together, have our clerk, Emily, send that to you guys now and also in the packet if that works well
Yeah,
for you.
that's great. And I wasn't just speaking to you
No, no,
specifically, it's
I
just with
understand.
all the departments. I love reading those reports. I just feel bad when I'm reading it after the meeting is over.
I understand.
Thank you, Trish.
Yep.
We're going to have a chief, our fire chief, come up. He has a guest.
Good evening, everybody. Yeah, guest in just a second here. A couple things to go over real quick. So as normal, the fire department has been preparing for our annual Christmas caroling truck. The staff have got the truck pulled into the first bay and has actively been decorating and getting it ready, and it's almost ready. It is probably 90% there. We will be doing our caroling route starting Friday, December 15th. We start at 6 p.m. and we drive a specific route each night, the same route throughout the city. It usually takes about 3 hours. They finish up after about 9 o'clock. And we'll do that through Christmas on the 25th will be the last night we do it. So, you'll hear them coming. Hopefully not too loud. A couple years ago, we had some volume problems. But you should be able to see them through your neighborhood around the same time each evening. And we do that on purpose. We do get some requests to alter the route, but unfortunately we found through practice that if we alter the route, it really gets upsetting when people were expecting it at 6 o'clock and they didn't get,
Not there.
and they missed it. So we stay very consistent with the route. So we look forward to doing that again this year. It's probably been over a 40-year tradition that the North Pole Fire Department's been doing this. And it's a great tradition we plan on continuing. Our firework vendors will be allowed to open up very soon. Actually, that same date, December 15th through the 31st, they're allowed to open. Most of them usually don't open until after Christmas. I mean, it's their option when they want to open. I have heard, actually, we've got permitting through all 4 of our normal vendors at this time have all paid for their annual permits, and I expect all 4 vendors will be open sometime before the new year. Wintertime is a great time for fireworks. It's a lot safer. We don't have the hazard of wildland grass type fires. But I do want to remind everybody, they still are dangerous. We see personal injuries coming from fireworks. So just a reminder to use them safely, use them to manufacturers' suggested uses, and be safe. Have fun, enjoy the holidays, but definitely be safe with the fireworks. I will be leaving town for the for the Christmas holiday. I'll be leaving this Friday, the 15th, to go spend the holidays in Texas with my in-laws, and I will be back shortly after Christmas. In my absence, Assistant Chief Chambers will be the acting fire chief. I will be available via email, cell phone, all the normal routes. So if you need anything from me or the fire department, feel free to get a hold of me or the assistant chief in that time period. And the last thing I have for you today is we are partnering with the Red Cross. So I'd like to ask Julie Swisher if she would join me up here, and she's going to tell you a little bit about our partnership and what we have planned.
Thank you so much, and good evening, council. As Chief Heineken had just stated that tomorrow, Tuesday, we are going to be in partnership with NPFD as well as Wells Fargo. And it's part of their DO campaign. It's part of our home fire and safety campaign. We went door to door last week canvassing the homes on 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th Avenue. And just letting people know that we're going to be in the area installing free smoke alarms if, at their request. We understand that the time frame that we want to do installs isn't the greatest because most people are at work. However, we wanted to make the public aware that we are going to have a presence out in the area. And it's part of a bigger campaign that we're going to be launching in May. Our National Sound the Alarm campaign through the American Red Cross tries to educate people on home fire and safety, as well as advocate for free smoke alarm installations and testing. So we wanted to make sure that the council was aware of what we're doing. Just as far as tomorrow goes, we're going to be going those few streets, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th Avenue. Try to get as many homes safe as we can, and then continue this partnership through May, where we're going to have a larger scale event where we'll include North Star Volunteer Fire Department, stretching all the way out to Salcha through Fairbanks and beyond. So at that time, we'll have a greater or more broad scope of what we're looking at for the interior, but North Pole was selected as the Spotlight City for 2024. So hopefully this will give us a small little perspective of like what we can do for May, but definitely want to keep you guys in the loop and have your encouragement, because North Pole as a Spotlight City is very exciting, and we're very thrilled for this partnership.
Yeah. Yeah, the fire department's excited, and when they came and told us that we were going to be selected, this is a great program. Smoke detectors literally save lives. So we were extremely happy, and we immediately suggested, it's like, yeah, we might be the highlighted city, but we wanted to incorporate much more than the city of North Pole. We basically, the entire 99705 zip code is what we're kind of looking at. So that's why we're going to involve multiple departments around us, working with Red Cross, and it's a great program. So I'm thankful that you're here and partnering with us. Thanks, Julie.
Yep, thank you, and thank you guys.
And with that, we can take questions for myself or for either of us.
Yep.
Is it possible that we have this featured on our websites, both the fire department and the city website, talking about this North Pole City being the spotlight for the fire alarms with the Red Cross, and what people can be expecting, and also probably on the Red Cross, you'll have that on probably on your website. But I think the more ways that we get the word out, I think it's good PR.
Yeah, we definitely will do that. And like she had mentioned, May is the bigger event. So this week is kind of the training event
Soft launch.
to train the staff that are doing this on how the program works. So yeah, it was a soft launch, and we definitely will get it very much into the public, because we'll need a lot more publicity to find the houses that don't have smoke detectors, that need smoke detectors. And you don't have to wait till May. The fire department, year round, we'll absolutely help you out. The Red Cross as well. So anybody that does need smoke detectors, don't wait till May. If you need them, let us know now, and we will make it happen.
Yes, our chapter, we don't call them chapter anymore, but our territory here in the far north and interior has just implemented a new, what we call SAT team. It's a smoke alarm installation team. So instead of signing up at a tabling event where you see Red Cross and you say, oh, well, I'd love to get free smoke alarms. You call and then you're on this wait list. What we want to do is have it be more like a DAT response, which is our disaster action team, where we have somebody signed up every single week and they rotate to make sure that the community is getting the smoke alarms that they requested. So it keeps us, it'll give us a good idea of what that looks like for our community, but it also gives our volunteers an opportunity to get out there more in the public, and then they get what they want in return. And so, like he had mentioned, this is just a small little precursor into what we're doing, but absolutely, Jeff, we are going to launch like our bigger national campaign a little later on. Right now, our focus is just on this small smoke alarm installation event is what we're calling it.
I got a question for you. Is there a smoke detector that when a person is in the kitchen, it won't go off? And I say that for a reason, because it seems like every time I cook, it goes off.
You know, and that is
In my house last night.
No.
as humorous as that is a serious issue we have. I mean, I've seen it throughout my career. I go to fires and I find smoke detectors sitting on countertops with the batteries removed. And that's the last thing we want to have happen. So that's part of the install and why we want them to be installed by people that are trained and knowledgeable. Because if you install them in the wrong places, you get false alarms, and false alarms lead to disabling of the alarm system. So if you do have one that is activating by cooking smoke primarily, our recommendation is moving it. You know, having it in an area. Our sleeping quarters are definitely the priority. You know, when you're asleep, you're most vulnerable for smoke. You will not wake up to that smoke. Most people think they would, but that is not the case. So yeah, we definitely recommend if you did have, which is very common, we hear it all the time, that my cooking sets off the alarms. It might be time to look at a different place for that detector.
I'll call one of you professionals.
Yeah, absolutely. You absolutely can call the fire station, call the Red Cross. We will help you out.
Didn't help my house. It's installed way across the house and it still
You
went
still-
off. It was that bad.
And just to be clear, we do not tamper with wired-in smoke alarms. We do the 10-year lithium battery smoke alarms, and a part of our program is to educate families how to safely get out of a building, what to do. We have our little quotes that we say, you know, keep an eye when you fry, things like that. We want to do this in an effort to keep our community and the people who live in it safe. So.
Julie, it's exciting to hear that you have a 10-year lithium battery. Are you going to have a year put on the outside of the fire alarm so they know the countdown is good for 10 years? Because we've got people programmed that every time there is daylight savings time is the time you change your battery. And if you have a 10-year battery, you're changing it prematurely. So if you have a 2023 or a 2024 on it, you do the math and say, okay, I've got 10 years countdown.
Yes, part of what we do as the teachers of the education portion, we make sure that they see it on the label that, you know, if it is December 11th, 2023, we make sure that it says December 11th, 3033 on it, and it's clearly marked. However, we do encourage people to, when you turn your clock back, to make sure that you check your smoke alarms. Hopefully, we like to think that people do that more frequently. However, that's not always the case. So the 10-year lithium battery smoke detectors are, in my opinion, very well made, and they do save lives. So I encourage everybody who can or that wants a smoke alarm, just please feel free to contact us. And those folks that live between 5th and 8th Avenue, just know that we're going to be out 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. tomorrow evening in coordination with the fire department and Wells Fargo, who is a sponsor for our National Sound the Alarm campaign.
Is there a phone number we can call you at?
You can call me directly and I'll get you the right person. But yes, I will leave a phone number for the primary contact after this.
There.
Are any of the smoke detectors you put in also CO detectors?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay.
Those are two different devices. We don't have the capacity for that. However, we have worked with other organizations such as Cold Climate Housing Coalition in previous installs. However, that's a partnership. It's under an MOU, and most of the time it's in rural areas. As far as the interior goes, that's kind of on the homeowner's expense, but we could definitely look into what other partnerships look like in the future.
Yeah, and the one advantage to CO detectors for a homeowner to install them themselves is is their location is much easier to deal with. So, you know, even though this program isn't doing it specifically, I mean, if you did need one, you can contact the fire department. We can help arrange to figure out how to get a CO detector into your home if you don't have one already. And they are easy for the homeowner to install because they don't have to be in specific places on the ceiling.
To answer part of that question too, we don't ever want finances to be an issue when it comes to keeping your home safe. So if there is something that you're in need of, please feel free to contact us. And if there's a will, there's a way. We'll find a way to find that for you.
Thank you very much. Any other questions?
Very
Thank you
much.
all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julie.
Julie, it's good to see you again.
Yes, absolutely.
Julie.
Our police department.
Good evening to all of you.
Good evening. You're nice and comfortable, no uniform.
Yeah. At least for today. So I'm staying in, as you guys know, Chief is out of town. I'm staying in very frequent contact with him. In fact, I was texting him the whole meeting, letting him know how things are going and what's going on. From what I hear, things are going well on that front. Don't know exactly when he'll be back yet, but he's able to do a great deal from where he's at. So I'm thankful for that. You've probably noticed, and I'll just let you know, we're continuing to train 3 new officers. They're all in various phases of their field training. So there's a pretty high level of activity right now on the street. And also it's a lot for our field training officers because each recruit requires 3 separate officers and we only have 4 field training officers, not counting myself. So they're literally doing the handoff, right? And training just nonstop for months. So really appreciate their diligence and their work in doing that because that is the future of our department. I just returned last week. I was also in Anchorage for the FBI NA Executive Development Conference that I try to go to every year. In the past, Chief has gone, but he wasn't able to go this year. And that conference is basically a large gathering of chiefs and lieutenants and command from agencies all across the state, about 250 people there. I don't know exactly how many agencies, but most of the agencies in Alaska are represented there. And I would just be very pleased to tell you that one of the speakers asked how many agencies are fully staffed. And out of everybody, I was the only one that was able to raise my hand and say,
Yay.
we are currently fully staffed. Now, how long that will last, I don't know. But it was very good to be able to say that because nobody else is in that position. So I thank you very much for your work on the wage front and getting us to the point where we are relatively competitive. I was speaking with a member of another agency locally here the other day at Coffee with a Cop, and he quoted me their starting wage as an officer as though I was going to be, you know, impressed by that. And I was able to turn around and say, well, we make as much or more, or we start our officers as much or more than they do. So that was very good to be able to do. On that note, I did attend a Coffee with a Cop event that took place at Jeans Chrysler here this past Saturday. AST sponsored it and invited us, and we always try to go because they always come out to ours. It was a good event. We probably had about, I don't know, 75 to 100 community members that showed up. They made it a big deal. They had the Hilo land in the parking lot with Santa, and it was a big event. So that was good. It was good to be able to represent that. I did just find out that our 2 new patrol cars are done, so you should be seeing those up here however long it takes them to ship, but not more than a couple weeks. We'll be sending someone to Anchorage to go pick those up. And yeah, besides that, everything's running smoothly and going well as we continue to just plow forward and get these folks trained up. Questions?
Any questions? See, oh, yeah.
I just have one. The cars that are coming up, they're not marked yet. Is that correct?
No,
And so are they going to have the ghosts?
they are not.
Okay, all right. Because I did not believe Chief when he said it lit up like a light bulb when the headlights hit the side of that car. It is awesome.
Oh,
It's
you've
pretty-
seen it?
I
Okay,
have
yeah.
seen it, yeah. Not behind me. It was on the other side of the road, so.
Thank you for clarifying. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, these will probably, they'll go to auto trim and they'll probably get the regular decals you guys typically see.
But tell me about the ghost. I mean,
Have you not seen it?
no.
Okay, so a ghost decal it's still fully marked, but it's just, the colors don't pop. They're not bright like this table is, right? It's more of a subdued look. But it relies on the reflection. If your headlights hit it, it really stands out from the car and it's actually in some ways brighter than a regular decal. So it's kind of the bridge between something that's fully unmarked and fully marked. A lot of highway patrol and other traffic type units use that type of marking because it's still fully marked. But it was a little bit of an experiment on our part to see what it would look like.
Got it right.
Yeah, they have a form of it. Yeah, theirs is a little more obvious than ours is. Yeah.
And is the idea that when your headlights light it up, that it gets the driver to slow down and behave, or is it just to keep them in stealth mode as long as possible till the headlights shine?
Yeah, that's the idea. It stays a little more stealthy, but it's not completely unmarked. People can still identify the agency, you know, who they're with, that type of thing.
Looks nice. It does look good.
cool. It's sharp.
Okay, I will take that feedback.
No more. One's enough.
Yep. No, 2 would be great.
Any other questions?
Any other questions? Okay, see none.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Tell Chief we said hello. Who's next? Danny. I didn't forget you, Dan.
Good evening. Just first of all, it's great to hear about the police cars that are fixed because we have a proposal later on to acquire one of the used cars for a city vehicle. And we'll talk to you later on about that. Again, if they actually get here and if they're actually switched out. Yeah, we'll see.
I remember you mentioning.
Yeah, but more to follow on that. I'll cover a special topic and then the 3 departments. For Moose Creek, a special topic. We're continuing to support the Moose Creek project through project management and staff support. And right now we're continuing to work with minor issues for failing pressure relief valves. These are being replaced in at least 5 residences throughout Moose Creek. Other recent actions include replacement of data displays in the pump house, and then we are receiving critical parts, additional parts, which we are going to put on the shelf and stored for future use. Just to inform the council that the project has been extended to March 31st, 2024 at no additional cost to the city. This is good news as it allows us to continue to monitor and operate the system sort of under a continued warranty period. So this is actually good that it's being extended out. There are more things to do because when they do the final handoff of that asset back to the city, we want to make sure that as much of the issues with it have been shaken out as possible. For the building department, we've gotten notification from a builder on the old Pizza Hut building, and they're doing minor internal remodeling, again, replacing ceiling tiles and some other minor things. But at this time, we're not sure what's going on in that location. And there may be rumors out there, but we've not gotten any official notice what's actually going to go into that location, if anything, at this time. For Public Works, we've been focusing on streetlight maintenance over the past couple of weeks. And I did send everyone a graphic with the streetlight information. And I would like to continue to send, again, non-meeting stuff, updates to the council directly rather than maybe inundating the clerk with that. She also gets a copy of everything I send to the council if that's okay. And if that needs to be talked about, you can certainly let me know. But rather than sending everything through the clerk to go to the council, if it's pertinent information, if I'm allowed to blast that out.
As long as we're not violating any open meetings.
Correct.
acts.
Yes, I've been schooled on the right way to send out emails, so.
Which means, council, you cannot respond back to it. Reply all.
Oh, reply all. Well, and when I've been sending up, it's blind courtesy copies to everybody, so you really can't unless you type in everybody's email address. So, but I'll continue to, again, I think updates are important. Just, again, I understand that each and every one of you get stopped at Safeway and they'll ask you about something, and that provides hopefully at least some background information on what's going on in some of those critical areas. And as I said, we're focusing on streetlights right now. And if you'll notice the candy cane lights at night, they glow a different color now. They glow white instead of sort of a vanilla color. They now have LED lights. That was a fast project, an add-on to that, no cost to the city. And they replaced all the candy cane light bulbs with LEDs, which hopefully will save us some money in the long run. And also, Public Works continues to sand and monitor street safety. We anticipate removing hard pack in the next few weeks, as we did last year about this time. The cost for one plowing of the city is about $10,000, and hard pack removal is about $14,500, which is actually $3,000 less than last year. We budgeted for these, and this is part of our normal routine winter operations. But again, you will see probably hard pack removal. We anticipate maybe one more plowing before the end of the year, depending on how much snow we get this week and next week. For utilities operations are continuing to go well. Last week included a visit from North Pole High School's natural resources class. About 30 individuals, or actually about 18 individuals, toured the water treatment plant. And these types of events are important for both education and awareness of what it takes to provide clean water to the community. We also continue to find customers that experience undetected water leaks. We also try to work with customers to find equitable solutions, but these incidents reinforce the need to replace older water meter heads with new ones to provide near real-time updates on water usage. And we'll talk about more during this meeting and also the next meeting about those replacements and the importance of those. And right now, I'd be happy to answer any questions that the council has.
Larry?
Question about the PRVs that were replaced in Moose Creek. Those were crawl space issues. The light's on, sorry. Crawl space issues with the PRV downstairs, or where's that PRV located, or different?
It depends on the home, but generally they are in the crawl spaces. We found a batch that are just bad. We've had 5 so far that have failed, and we've asked HC to go back to the manufacturer and find out what's going on. In the interim, we're replacing those as they come up, and we've also been able to order. I think we'll have at least 10 on hand. So if that continues to come up, but again, HC is contracted to respond to those. Right now we're aware of the situation and we're monitoring it, but they are the ones that are required to fix those.
While this is happening, is there a way to put notice to those Moose Creek individuals, those Moose Creek houses, hey, check your crawl space? That could be leaking into the crawl space and creating an issue, mold that they're not even aware of due to the faulty manufacturing of that. And if it's on HC's bill because of the faulty part, it would behoove everybody in the city, along with the city users, to have that corrected sooner than later.
Correct. And I'll tell you, the way we find out what these really are, that the homeowners bring those up rather than it's been sort of hard to get in front of those, but we can definitely take that feedback back to HC and we can talk to them about it. And again, as our folks are going into the houses too, we can look at that.
Are you kind of talking about like a flyer that could go in a mailer? I think that might actually be a good idea to be a little proactive. If this is a consistent thing that's happening and we had a bad batch, I think just having a little tiny colored notification to check your crawl space, just be a little bit more proactive on our part.
I think the PRVs, and I think that's good. I think the PRVs are causing a loss of water pressure. I think that's the indicator that's the symptom of those PRV failures, is the loss of water pressure. But we'll look at that, because again, trying to get ahead of this is very important. I agree. So,
thank you.
Jeff?
Danny, last week I paid to have a new water meter installed in my house, and Marty was great to do that. It only took 3-5 minutes to get that swapped out. We talked more than he actually had to do to put it in, to install it, but just catching up on news. So are there instructions? Because I know my cohort, my neighbor here, he has an app on his phone that he can watch his water usage, but I don't have those instructions of how to,
Okay, we'll get those to you. And I'll tell you, that should be part of the installation is that this education of the consumer. So Marty should have worked that into the discussion. So
sorry,
no, it's okay.
too many rabbit
We'll
holes at my
we'll
house.
talk to him. And you know, during the meeting, I'm gonna talk about, you know, how do we procure a significant amount of these water meter for reinstallations. And we'll talk about it at the staff meeting, but we should have our processes down where you get a new meter, you get some education on what you need to do next. So I'll make a note of that.
Any other questions? Thank you, Danny. Our city clerk, Emily.
Oh, thank you. So since the last meeting, we did hold the bed tax meeting. I was able to attend AML for the clerks conference in Anchorage, and I thank you all for sending me. While I was gone, Maggie Kimmel started. She's the new deputy clerk, HR admin. She had previous experience in the Montana School District, and from what I've seen, she's absolutely wonderful. I look forward to taking her to AML with me next year. Happy to be back. This is the busy month. Any questions?
That's what I was going to say. Any questions? Yes.
Yeah,
ma'am.
with Maggie Smith, because she replaced our previous deputy clerk, HR person. And you said she started,
Maggie started on last Monday, December 4th, while I was in AML. So she got to work with Melissa on Melissa's last week before she was here earlier to say goodbye to everybody. But shout out to Melissa. Thank you for everything. She was wonderful with Maggie, and Maggie, from everything I can see, I cannot wait to work with her.
that's good.
I met her
Any new
twice.
employer, you just, you know, employee, you are anxious that, you know, it's a good fit. So I'm optimistic that she
Yeah,
might
good.
be.
Any other questions? Yes, Benny.
On that on that AML course that I went to, I only went one day, and I think that there was a lot of more information that I could have gotten, maybe stay there 2 or 3 days. So that might be something we want to look at for next year for those that go. One day is not enough, not for me anyway, but it was a real excellent course. And I stayed in the hotel most of the time, but it did work. And they feed you breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So, but
We did send both you and Larry just to the new council member training, which is a one-day training.
yeah,
But
they had it on the
noted for
list.
next year.
They had it on the list for 2 days, but okay, all right.
So what, was there a second day that you missed?
Yeah.
Oh,
We sent you to new council member training, which was Monday. The Tuesday didn't have anything significant for newly elected officials. But everything is up for discussion for 2024.
All right, well, I want to be in on that discussion.
I'm gonna put cooking classes on that discussion too. Shout out to smoke detectors.
I love you too. No, I don't have anything else to say. I'm done for the night.
Okay, so moving forward on ongoing projects. No ongoing projects?
I have nothing to report, and Mayor Welch didn't send me anything to put on the agenda.
Okay. Number 11, new business.
And we've consented ordinance 2318, so we're at resolution 2318.
So Resolution 2018, a resolution of North Pole City Council establishing the 2023 bed tax, a grant distribution. Can I get you to go ahead and read through that for us, Madam Clerk?
Yeah, there were, was it 7 applicants? There were 8 applicants this year. It turned out Explore Fairbanks ended up not wanting to attend the meeting or request any grant funds, so they pulled out during the night of the meeting. Other than that, the breakdown is according to According to here on the screen, these are the numbers.
Madam Clerk,
Go ahead.
did Explore Fairbanks explain that why they pulled out? Is it because they had an increased amount of funding from Fairbanks City, Fairbanks bed tax?
It was a little confusing going into the meeting because we had no word from Explore Fairbanks, and that wasn't presented until the end of the meeting. During the meeting, I was texting Scott and Linda McCray just to make sure that he really was requesting zero. So it sounds like they're going to have Explore Fairbanks is going to have a presentation the January meeting to discuss why he didn't apply for funds, but it wasn't presented in the meeting. I wouldn't have been texting them during the meeting if I had known prior to the meeting, but that information was kind of held and announced at the end of the meeting, so.
I think they had a bumper bed tax year in 2023 in Fairbanks, so I think he probably felt that they didn't need that necessarily and would rather have the other agencies get a larger slice of the pie, but I'm sure the committee was puzzled why they suddenly pulled out, so.
They also had a grandbaby that evening, so could have waited into missing the meeting.
Ah, yeah.
Anyways, it was verified during the meeting that they were requesting zero, so.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving forward,
Do you want to read the dollar allocation so the listening audience can hear what that is?
yes, Madam Clerk.
The Literacy Council of Alaska was approved for $6,334. Fairbanks Economic Development Corporation was approved for $20,500, and these are all proposed until you guys approve, by the way. $20,529. The North Pole Community Chamber of Commerce is proposed to be approved for $69,024. Explore Fairbanks, zero. The Grange, $7,812. The Grange Gallery, $47,562. The World's Biggest Backpack, $14,362. And then KJMP came in at $8,779 for a total of $174,402.
Any questions? Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Is there a motion to approve Resolution 2318?
Move to approve.
I'll second it.
Was there any discussion or questions?
Oh, I did the questions. I don't see that there was any. No.
I think at our committee of the whole, we addressed the
Addressed it.
concerns that were raised earlier
Right.
about procedures.
You're right. So,
Call the roll. Should I call the roll?
yes, please.
Mr. Keller,
Yes.
Ms. Clack,
Yes.
Mr. Church,
Yes.
Mr. Skips,
Yes.
Mr. Williams, and Mr. Jacobson. Thank you. That brings us to,
B.
yes, request to council, the memorandum of understanding.
That would be Danny.
So in the council packets, you'll see 3 copies of the memo in different areas. The first request, again, is for with North Star Borough for imagery sharing. This allows us to use North Star Borough's imagery that they use for, they use it for planning purposes. And actually the imagery used is of much higher definition than what we currently have, which you can get off Google Earth or any of those programs. This certainly doesn't do it justice, but this does show the area of coverage. It's no cost to the city of North Pole because they consider us we are not technically a subunit, but for administrative purposes for GIS, we are considered a subunit to North Star Borough. The only caveats are that I cannot freely distribute this without permission for an unauthorized use. We can use it for analysis, and it is available to anyone in the city. But CSG our lawyers did review that MOU. And I'll answer any questions about that.
Do we use that for our GIS mapping for the city, or how does that work?
You know, and GIS is a tough a tough thing for us just because we're kind of a thin staff for it. Because as you know, GIS services takes maintenance to keep it updated. What we're looking at in the future, though, is we have a lead line service inventory that we have to do, basically mapping out all of the utilities within the city where all of our water lines are buried, and we have to certify whether or not they have lead. We're going to look at integrating that into some of the GIS mapping. Bill Butler did do some work previously on GIS maps. But again, we found it to keep it updated. It's tough, and our utilities folks use another way of keeping track of where all the water lines are. So given all that, we are trying to see where GIS fits in this. This is a free service that we can sort of play around with and see the utility of this. The good thing about this is if I have something that's in the area of one of your houses, we can actually zoom in on it, and it's really high definition imagery that we can use for decision making. So that part's helpful.
I do know that we, at the city of Fairbanks, we used in the past Duncan Services. Tom Duncan is the guy who actually developed the GIS system for the borough. He's the granddaddy of it in the borough. So he was very helpful in working on creating our layers for public works to our stormwater drain system, things like that. So you might consider contacting him, seeing what he can do to create whatever visuals or layers that you might need using GIS.
And we've gotten a similar commitment from the borough. What this exercise has done is actually opened a communication channel to the borough to talk about mapping. So it's been very good, and so that's great to hear.
Any other questions? Okay.
On the request to council for Fairbanks North Star Borough imagery sharing, Mr. Skips,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Church,
Yes.
Mr. Keller, Ms. Clack, Mr. Jacobson.
Yes.
Next order of business would be letter C. Request to cancel strategy plan update contract with Andrew and excuse me,
Agnew and Beck.
Agnew and Beck. Thank you.
And as Mr. Jacobson pointed out, there are copies of the previous strategic plan. In the memo, it may refer to a 2015 strategic plan, but the bottom line is it's produced in 2015, but it's a 2016 document. A strategic plan for your municipality really shows you where your left and right boundaries are for future planning. So if you're doing something that are outside of that vision or those boundaries, that's something that you have to think very hard about. And that's what a strategic plan adds to an organization such as ours. The strategic plan that we had talked to with Agnew and Beck is a very low cost view of how to go forward after this. Rather than doing a full strategic plan, the idea or one way forward is to take what we have and see what we're doing good, what we need to improve on, and see if the city, what form of a strategic plan the city needs going forward. Again, as mentioned in the memo, these are fairly expensive. They're about, again, anywhere from $150,000 to $200,000 as far as a strategic plan that costs. A $5,000 refresh and a review of the plan is something that I think is important. I did take, again, Mr. Jacobson's guidance on pushing the meeting. In between our meetings, I did send them a note saying we're going to push it for a few weeks. We'll push it into January, so there's time to review the plan. And anyone on the council who's interested in participating, we will have the department heads participate, but anyone who's on the council that's interested in participating, there's a kickoff meeting. There'll be some interviews. They'll do some assessing, and they'll look at the other plans that the borough has for us and other state plans that include the city of North Pole and the other plans the city of North Pole's done. And then they'll take that and they'll look at it and provide some feedback on how you should go forward, what type of strategic plan, what things have you done well, what things you need to improve on. So that's the trajectory of this request.
Any questions, council? Seeing none?
Do I have a motion to accept the request to council?
Move to approve the
Move to-
request.
I'll second.
Thank you, Benny. Ms. Clack,
Yes.
Mr. Church,
Yes.
Mr. Skips,
Yes.
Mr. Jacobson,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Keller. And that brings us to the next item. Contract renewal with TechPro for utility services.
Okay, so in your packet is a copy of the master services agreement with TechPro. This is an agreement that we've had previously. TechPro is aligned with our systems that we use to run the water and sewer systems. We have a base cost of $5,700 per year and then a call out fee for those folks that come out to provide support. What this does is in the middle of the night on Saturday night, when a display board goes out in one of our systems, one of our well houses or one of our pump houses, these guys will come out and assist us or fix the problem. It's a local company. They're in the area. We've had very good luck with them before, and they understand the city of North Pole and what our requirements are. So this request and this is unsigned for decision. This request is to renew this master service agreement for another year.
Any questions, council? Yes, Larry?
Where are they located? I see here a Wasilla address. Are they located out of Wasilla?
They've got a satellite office off Badger here. So they are able, again, when we call them, they're able to send an actual person here to the location where there's been other cases where they've actually had to fly somebody in or drive somebody up from a different location. So the fact that they are in the area, but I think they're headquartered down at Wasilla.
Any further questions?
You said there was a call out fee. That means every time they come out?
They will charge by the hour. And again, they've worked with us long enough where if we have a question about, hey, what button do I push? We're not going to get charged for that. But when they actually physically have to come out, we will pay them by the hour. This is something that we do budget for every year. It's all part of our professional services or our maintenance contracts, depending on how they service. But there is it starts at $145 an hour.
And one of our guys are right there with them too, right?
Certainly, yeah,
Okay.
unless they're remoting in, because there are times when they can remote in and help with the system. So,
Yes, Larry?
The cost for this, I see that there's a monthly plan or a pay right now plan. Is there any interest charge for the pay per month plan? I didn't see that in the
I think
contract.
when you do the math, the pay per month plan is a little bit higher.
Okay.
Or is it the same? Okay, so.
Unless there's
Yeah.
well, besides the $15 nominal administration fee monthly.
Well, so that may be the overhead that we
Yeah,
pay
that-
extra. Again, paying for it upfront, it sort of with the contract, hopefully guarantees our support. So.
I would recommend the annual contract, just so you don't have to remember 12 times a year to pay the bill.
It makes, easier on Tricia. So.
I do notice that there is a typo in their contract under engagement. It says North Pole Water Treatment Plant, North Pole Well House, Goose Creek.
Goose
Water
Creek, yes.
System.
It's not in here, but I did actually I did catch that. It says, there's a spot in here where it says Goose Creek instead of Moose Creek, but we did correct that in the,
Contract?
I have a different copy of the contract that doesn't have the Goose Creek water system.
One that we're seeing does have that in there, but the one that you're holding does not, correct?
The one, I have a copy in my office that has that correction. I was able to go in and correct it. But again, this is not a signed contract. This is up for a council decision.
Any other questions? Nope. Call to question?
Move to approve the Tech Pro Master Service Agreement.
Second.
Skips, was that you seconding? Did I?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Keller,
Yes.
Ms. Clack,
Yes.
Mr. Church,
Yes.
Mr. Skips, Mr. Williams,
Yes.
and Mr. Jacobson.
Yes.
Okay, that brings us to the next item on the agenda.
We do a 5-minute break?
We can do a 5-minute break.
Move to suspend the rules for a 5-minute break.
Second. Skips. When we was doing that, when we had the little partitions.
Who seconded it?
So I just got to have the same second skips.
Oh. Yeah, I'm so glad we don't have them because I could not hear.
Yeah, you couldn't. And you couldn't have the little sidebars.
Yeah.
Because you have to sit all the way back. That's sad. I think my first year I sat all that.
I think, yeah. Trying to think of all the different places I sat on here.
I think I've sat I think I've sat in every spot.
I'm just thinking I have.
All except the.
Shine.
That's right. I didn't have a full. Justice have to hire and then have this, you're committed to it.
I don't.
I want you to work.
She just wanted to get the paycheck.
Well, no, that's one Susan wants.